Deepak Jain, the auto analyst at IDFC Securities, who joins us on the sidelines of the IDFC Annual Investors Conference. Thanks so much, Deepak, for joining in. Let's get straight to your picks. Maruti Suzuki, it's been a big outperformer in the last 1 year or so. A standout pick, you believe it has more upside?
Yeah, I clearly believe it has more upside. So there are a couple of points to that. One, if you look at the passenger vehicle growth, I think it's going to continue to remain reasonably strong. Particularly, if you look at in light of the pay commission that's going to come in, and also we're seeing a revival in urban discretionary demand to that extent. So I think you put those two together, you're going to see volume growth for a sector as a whole come in. And if you look at Maruti, they've got a strong product pipeline. So that's going to drive growth, I think, going forward. The Baleno's been a reasonable success. They've got a couple of new products, which are, the S-Cross is doing okay, not that great, but the Baleno's been a big success. And I think they've got a great, reasonable product pipeline ahead. So I think that should drive volume growth. And that comes at a time, thirdly, it comes at a time when competition has probably slackened a little bit to that extent, and which is why I think profitability for Maruti could continue to remain at these levels. So that's why I think it remains one of our top picks in the space.
What an outperformer Maruti has already been, a 40% rally since the beginning of this year. Hi Deepak, afternoon. What are your channel checks suggesting about how the festive season has been for these automakers? We heard from Hero MotoCorp. They've said that we've sold 1 million units in the 35 days. Today we spoke to the motorcycle head at Bajaj Auto, and they told us that I think growth has been 11 to 15% on a year-on-year basis in this festive season. Which is the company you believe, or which companies have done well in the festive season, and is it likely to positively surprise?
So I think the festive season in general has been strong. So both on the two-wheeler side as well as on the car side. So two-wheelers, Hero's been saying that 11%, Bajaj has said that it's been in 11%. My sense is Maruti will probably have been slightly higher than that in the festival season. If you look at from one festival to the festival, companies not said anything, but that's what our channel checks suggest. So, a company like Maruti, which had its new launch, the Baleno, which has been very well received, I think those could do better. On the rural side, yes, I think these numbers were probably slightly higher than what I had been expecting from what we've been hearing. I had expected something, about high single digits, so it's probably going to be in mid double digits or low double digits over there. So I think that part is probably surprising a little bit. The question though from here on is whether the rural demand side is sustainable or not. The sense that we get is that there's been some pent-up demand which has come through in this festival season. The last couple of months were really weak, and Hero, specifically the scooter side of the business, has done better. So we've seen some sort of pent-up demand coming through, but whether it's sustainable or not on the rural side. I think urban side and car market is probably sustainable. Rural side, I think there is still some question whether it's going to be sustainable going forward.
All right, Deepak, a quick question on Maruti. I think the last month we got a sales number of around 1.35 approximately. I was seeing Maruti, the sales numbers were hovering until around that 1.25 approximately. Going ahead, you think they can keep up this run rate of 1.3 plus?
So I think 1.3 plus for this month at least, I think they should be able to maintain that. The YOY growth that we've been seeing in Maruti has been very high to that extent. I mean, because of the base. So that was the reason. These are 2 months which are reasonably strong. So I think this month at least, going forward, we'll have to see how it does. Fourth quarter is generally the strongest quarter. So I think that sort of a run rate is achievable.
All right, Deepak.
At least in the near term. We'll have to see beyond that.
Okay.
All right, Deepak, my personal favorite. I love the Royal Enfield. It's a great bike. What a way that stock has moved in the last few years. You believe there's more upside to come in for Eicher Motors?
Very clearly. I think we've done some detailed work on this, and we've come out with some notes on this. The basic thing with Royal Enfield is that there's been a vast change in the customer profile. So you've seen a shift in the customer profile from being, an enthusiast or someone who wanted for leisure driving to a customer base which now drives us on a daily basis. And the customer has become younger, and you've seen that entire shift is what's driven volumes. And yet, if you look at the market share of Royal Enfield, I think it hovers between 2 and 3% even now. So given that small base, the volume growth, along with the fact that the customer has shifted, and we're seeing that shift continue, the volume growth could continue to remain very high, strong. And if you look at the competitive intensity, it actually has very little competition at that price point with that brand equity. There are some on the sports side of the vehicle, or the Harleys, which are 3 times the price. But in that particular niche, in that segment, there is very little competition. Actually, there's no competition, in my view, for them. And which is why the profitability has also grown along with volumes of operating leverage, and the fact that they're able to pass on price hikes and take price hikes. So margins will remain reasonably high. Volume growth, I think, should continue. And if you look at the concern's always been around valuations, but the fact is that the stock has always remained expensive at whichever level you probably want to pick it up at. There's been some correction of late, which I think is unwarranted, and that, to my mind, gives a great entry point for the stock.
Okay, and your third buy is Ashok Leyland with a target price of 102. But Deepak, we've run out of time completely, so appreciate you taking the time out and joining us from your busy conference schedule. So that's the